to QB1. So remember, for the longest time, Pluto was the ninth planet, but then now we've discovered a lot of these trans-Neptunian objects. The orbital parameters of the known trans-Neptunian objects are going to be plotted here. See, we will look at this in just a second. The upper panel shows orbital inclination I as a function of semi-major axis A. The lower panel shows orbital eccentricity E as a function of A. We will look at this. Uranus is the large dot. We will see this dot and an semi-major axis of 19.2 astronomical units and a low inclination and eccentricity. Neptune is the large dot at 30 astronomical units for the semi-major axis and low inclination and eccentricity as well. We also have a number of objects with orbits smaller than that of Neptune in this figure. These objects, which lie outside the orbit of Jupiter but inside that of Neptune. So there is a name for objects that lie outside the orbit of Jupiter, so outside of 5.2 astronomical units, but inside that of Neptune, and these are called Centaurs. It's kind of like Harry Potter, Centaurs. This is because the first such object discovered was given the name Chiron. Oh, I think Chiron is pretty important in astrology as well. So the first such object discovered was named Chiron, Chiron, after the most famous of the mythological centaurs. Most of the trans-Neptunian objects have a semi-major axis that place them in a narrow classic Kuiper belt, with the semi-major axis basically lying between 35 and 50 astronomical units. Most inclinations are relatively small, with the majority of twotinos having an inclination less than 10 degrees. But this is partly a selection effect. The early searches for trans-Neptunian objects concentrated on the region near the ecliptic. Concentrated on a region near the ecliptic. Eccentricities have a fairly wide range, with E being between 0 and 0.3, but a few have higher eccentricity. Notice that there is a large excess of twotinos with a semi-major axis of 39.5 astronomical units, similar to the semi-major axis of Pluto's orbit, right? Pluto was found at around 39 astronomical units. These objects called Plutinos. So now we have Plutinos, Plutinos. Chiron is spelled Chiron, Chiron. But now we have these Plutinos, little Plutos, after their prototype, are all in a 3-to-2 orbital resonance with the planet Neptune. Remember, that's how Pluto was too. In addition, there is a smaller but still significant excess of twotinos with a semi-major axis of 47.8 astronomical units. So we're kind of just finding all kinds of things that are sort of beyond Jupiter, and also some of them are beyond Neptune. These bodies have sidereal These bodies have sidereal orbital periods of P of around 330 years, so quite a long time, and thus are in a 2-to-1 orbital resonance with Neptune. These objects have been given the name of twotinos. Twotinos, Twotinos, rhymes with Plutinos, so twotinos and Plutinos. Interestingly, there are very few low eccentricity twotinos beyond the twotinos. Most known twotinos with a semi-major axis greater than 48 astronomical units have an E of 0.2, so an eccentricity of, greater than 0.2. In fact, most of these distant twotinos, the distant, trans-Neptunian objects, have a combination of A and E, so semi-major axis and eccentricity, that places their perihelion in the range of 30 to 40 astronomical units. So between 30 and 40 astronomical units, which would be, kind of like Neptune and a bit farther away. So close to the orbit of Neptune. These distant high eccentricity twotinos are called scattered disk objects. The most plausible explanation for their orbits is that they were originally on low eccentricity orbits within the classical Kuiper belt. So they might have been low eccentricity orbits within the classical Kuiper belt, but were scattered onto larger high eccentricity orbits by their gravitational encounters